Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're talking about something every business leader thinks about, or, well, should be thinking about, succession planning. It's absolutely essential, but let's be honest, the way it's often done feels a little like guesswork, doesn't it? It's slow, it's so subjective, and if you get it wrong, you're left with this huge leadership gap that can, frankly, derail the whole company.
It's a massive risk, a
Yeah.
huge one. And traditional methods are, well, there's not cutting it anymore. You've got these once-a-year performance reviews, which are already outdated the moment they're written, and then you're relying on the gut feelings of senior leaders. It's a model that's just full of holes.
Full of holes and, you have to say it, full of bias. So our mission for this deep dive is to get into the sources that detail how AI is stepping in to fix this. We're going to unpack how these tools are being used to spot high potential leaders way, way before you actually need them, turning a chore into a real strategic weapon.
It's a necessary revolution, truly. Because, as you said, the old way risks overlooking the quiet superstars, the people who aren't the loudest promoters of their own work. And any company that isn't building an objective, data-driven pipeline right now is really setting itself up for disruption down the line.
Okay, so if the big problem is that we've been using intuition and these, dusty old feedback forms, AI is being sold as this revolutionary fix. But I want to push on that. Is it really swapping guesswork for certainty? Or
Right.
is that just good marketing?
The sources suggest we're getting a lot closer to certainty than we've ever been. Because for the first time, you have repeatable, data-driven processes that are built, explicitly designed to cut through that bias and increase accuracy. That's the real shift here.
Okay, let's dig into that. If a machine is now the talent scout, what's actually in its toolkit? What gives it this new capability?
It really comes down to a powerful trifecta of technologies. First, you have machine learning. It's basically learning from your company's own history what success looks like.
So it's looking at past leaders.
Exactly. What worked, what didn't. Second is natural language processing, NLP. That lets the AI understand unstructured text. Think written reviews, emails, project reports, all that stuff.
All the data we used to ignore because it was too messy.
Right. And third, you have predictive analytics. It takes everything from the first two and then forecasts an employee's likelihood of success in a more senior role.
So that combination lets it process a volume of data that a human HR team could never get through, not in a million years. The goal then is to find people with a high statistical chance of succeeding. But I want to get specific here. How is it predicting leadership potential? What is it actually measuring beyond, who got the biggest bonus last year?
It goes so much deeper than that. It's looking at, yes, the traditional things like performance scores and how fast someone's been promoted, but it combines that with much more subtle indicators.
Such as?
Skills they've acquired, how engaged they are in training, and, this is the really interesting part, actual behavior patterns it picks up from their digital footprint.
Behavior patterns. You mean the kinds of things a good manager might sort of sense but could never really write down in a review?
That's it, exactly. For instance, the sources say NLP can analyze someone's communication style and project documents. Is it clear? Is it collaborative? It can track how often they work on shared projects across departments. And crucially, it looks at how often an employee brings a complex project in for landing under pressure. These are all measurable inputs now.
I find that fascinating, the idea of finding the talent that's sort of hiding in plain sight. Because if the system is flagging people who are great problem solvers but who haven't been fast-tracked, doesn't that sort of expose a flaw in the human managers who miss them?
That's a very powerful side effect, a very powerful one. If the AI keeps pointing to high-potential people who are only rated as meets expectations by their boss, it immediately signals a problem, maybe a training issue, or yes, maybe an unconscious bias in that manager. So the AI isn't just a talent scout. It's an audit of your entire talent spotting culture.
And that leads right into the big promise, right? Objective talent assessments. We all know the problem. Leaders tend to promote people who remind them of themselves. Similar backgrounds, same hobbies.
And that's where AI just cuts through all of it. It focuses strictly on measurable criteria, the skills, the achievements, the qualities that your organization has explicitly said it needs for the future. It removes that personal affinity, so the selection is just fairer, more objective than any one manager could ever be.
So we've solved the scouting problem. We've moved from subjective to objective. But spotting talent once a year is not enough. The real value has to be in continuous development, right?
Absolutely. The third big enhancement is real-time insights. This is what enables that continuous development. The AI isn't a one-and-done report. It's always on, always monitoring performance and development. This means you can track someone's progress toward a leadership role in real time.
And make adjustments to their development plan on the fly.
Exactly. Not waiting 6 months for the next review cycle.
So what's it looking at continuously? Is it, I don't know, reading every Slack message?
It's broader, but yeah, highly integrated. It pulls from performance reviews, sure. But it also tracks things like training course completion rates, peer feedback from your internal systems, participation in special projects. It gives managers this dynamic, almost living picture of an employee's readiness. Not a static photo from last quarter. It tells you not just who is ready, but what specific skill they need to work on this week.
That real-time element must have a huge impact on retention, which brings us to the strategic benefits. Let's start with benefit 1, reduced turnover.
This is huge for the bottom line and for morale. When you proactively identify and, nurture your top talent early on, it creates this very visible culture of career development. Employees see a real path forward.
A path that's backed by data, not just office politics.
Right. They know the company is investing in them to close specific, measurable gaps. They feel valued, they're more loyal, and your retention rates go up. It's a clear connection.
And benefit 2 seems to tackle one of the biggest challenges out there, increasing diversity in leadership. If the AI is truly objective, how does that help break down some of those old barriers?
It acts as a powerful counterbalance to human nature, because the models are built to focus only on skills, capabilities, and performance, not on someone's background or where they went to school. It bypasses all those things that can lead to unintentional bias. The result is you naturally start promoting a more diverse group of leaders, which we know leads to more innovation.
It sounds like it's not just about filling the org chart as it exists today, but actually shaping the future of the company.
Precisely. That's benefit 3, better alignment with organizational goals. Good AI doesn't just look backward at who used to be successful. It analyzes market trends, your own future business goals, and it models what kind of leaders you'll need in, say, 5 years.
I see.
Then it finds employees whose skills and goals match that future direction. So you're grooming leaders for tomorrow's company, not yesterday's.
And let's get practical for a minute. For the C-suite, this has to be about efficiency too. Benefit 4, cost and time savings. Traditional succession planning can be a black hole for HR budgets and time.
Oh, it's notoriously slow and expensive. Months of meetings, endless debates. AI systems process all that data in a fraction of the time. By automating the initial identification and assessment, you free up your people to do the high-value work.
Like coaching and mentoring.
Exactly. Instead of spending weeks figuring out who to develop, you can spend those weeks actually developing them.
Okay, we have to talk about the guardrails here. This all sounds incredible, but you can't just hand over people's careers to a black box algorithm. What are the challenges the sources point to?
The first one is pure human friction. You're taking subjective power away from managers who are used to hand-picking their successors. They can show a lot of resistance, so you have to manage that cultural shift carefully. You have to show them the AI is a tool to make their judgment better, not replace it.
And what about the trust issue? You mentioned transparency, but how transparent can a company really be with its proprietary AI model?
That's the core tension. The sources are clear. The system has to be explainable. A manager needs to be able to tell an employee, in plain English, why the system flagged a development gap. Something like, the system noted a pattern of unclear communication in your last 3 project reports. Not just, the computer says no. If you can't explain the output, your employees will never trust the system.
And data integrity has to be a concern. We've said AI reduces bias, but what if your historical data is already biased? If 90% of your past leaders were from one demographic, won't the AI just learn to replicate that?
That is a huge risk, and it requires deliberate management. You have to train the model on diverse, validated data. You might even have to artificially create data sets that show success outside the historical norm. The goal is to train the AI to look for future potential, not just repeat past patterns.
And finally, the danger of over-reliance. Are we saying humans are out of the loop?
Not at all. And the sources are very, very firm on this. Human judgment is still essential. The AI provides the data, the analysis, the predictions. It surfaces the candidates. But the final, nuanced decision, the mentorship, the cultural fit, that still requires a human. AI should supplement and empower, not replace.
So, to sum this all up for everyone listening, we're seeing this massive shift. We're moving from a subjective yearly chore to an objective, continuous, and predictive process. AI is turning succession planning into a real strategic advantage.
It's a huge step forward. By automating the grunt work of data analysis, businesses can just make better, more objective decisions.
Mm.
They can build a deep, diverse leadership pipeline that's actually aligned with where the company's going.
And as this tech gets better and better, the companies that get on board now are going to have a massive competitive advantage. So here's the thought we want to leave you with. Think about your own organization. Being able to identify your next leaders before you even need them, that doesn't just help you survive disruption, it positions you to win. How is your company building its pipeline to ensure success in this constantly changing marketplace? That's something to mull over.